X-Force.
Nope.
Nah. Assholes. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh overview. Today, we're going to take a little look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends X-Force 3-pack of Richter, Domino, and Cannonball. Oh, and we're getting so close to finishing this team. Now, everybody knows my Marvel bread and butter is X-Men. I just love everything X. But there's tiers to that. There's, of course, X-Men teams, and then there was, like, Excalibur, just barely below that, X-Factor, and then New Mutants and X-Force came in somewhere down here. But Hasbro, being the sly bastards they are, know that we will just flock to a team building, you know? If we see them working towards the finish line on any certain group, we're more likely to go, oh, okay, I'll go back and buy those, and then buy these, and then they gotta give us the rest of them, right? Looking at the package, it's what we're used to with the 3-packs. There's 3 figures in there. Big window showing everything that comes in the package. Marvel Legends logo, Hasbro logo, X-Force! Warning, choking hazard, small parts. Don't put the mutants in your mouth. On the side, the trading cards from the 90s, giving us the characters in action. On the back, those same trading cards, bigger pictures. On the other side, guess what? There they are again. On the top, X. On the bottom, legalese, barcode, but let's get this open, see what's going on here. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like X-Force. They just weren't priority. But like I said about Hasbro, they start team building, and I'm there. Even with Jim Lee X-Men, who is not my favorite iteration of the team, I'm just buying all those up and putting them on the shelf. And doing the same with X-Force because, oh, so 90s. The background of the package is just a faint X with an explosion coming out, but you can also see the trading cards. Starting off with the obvious figure, because we essentially have, well, at least half this figure. The first Cannonball we got, and gonna ignore the big apparent difference, the upper body is completely reuse. Same puffy jacket, same pockets, same detail work to it, although they came in and painted that this time around. Same arms with the wrinkles, same gloves, collar popped up, same shirt underneath with the wrinkles and this double cross thing, whatever it is at the collar. But there's also a change in the purples. The original is darker, and then he has a white shirt. And then, of course, there's the legs. There's 4 capsules here at the belt, white running down the middle, purple on the side, and comes down to these boots that have big straps around the front. I've gotten old, and there's so many figures out now, I can't tell if this is reuse or not, but this totally works for Cannonball. There's some wrinkles to the back of the boots, some pretty plain feet, and then the purple comes up and matches the inner shirt. Pins show through, so you know what's happening here. With the white on the inside of the leg, the purple pegs are showing. But I do like how the grays match here to here to here. The new one also comes with a different head sculpt from the first, although that is also included in this pack with just some different colors. When we get to accessories, we'll look at that. This new one has a neutral face since it's not blasting. This made sense here because he's always blasting. The leather is more that gray color that matches the rest of the costume, and then the hair sculpt is different, slightly darker. But I'm still having the same problem I had with that first figure, and that's you can't put the arms down to the side. He's in that constant state of flex or jumpy or, you know, tensed up. Going over articulation, there is a ball at the top of the neck with a hinge going down. Flying character, bam, goes all the way up. These are rubbery, so they get out of the way. A little bit of tilt. Swivel, peg at the arm, goes all the way around. Hinge at the shoulder goes up. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow comes up, well, most of the way. Swivel at the wrist. Hinge. Ab crunch goes forward, goes back. Swivel at the waist. Ball coming out to the hip goes forward, back, out. Not shabby. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee. Oh, too muscular. Swivel at the boot. Hinge at the ankle goes back, forward, and then forward facing pin for rocker. For accessories, like I said, there's an alternate head that just pops right off. That gives you, again, the same look as the first figure. Then you can also pop it apart at the waist, do away with the legs. Who needs legs? And then it includes a blast effect here too. Same sculpt as the first, but a lot more paint detail. There's some white paint at the top, make it like a cloud, like smoky, and then the yellowish color fades into a darker orange. Whereas here it was all translucent plastic, yellow working into orange. As far as swaps between the original and the new one go, the head thing is that gray color that matches the gloves and the boots. But if you really, really wanted to, you can put that here and pop that onto here. And it's not really a huge difference. The big thing is the legs. Again, the 90s, all the colors mixed together. The jacket is kind of a lighter purple, and then it's a different color for the shirt and the pants. But that white in the middle doesn't really match anything with the top. You go back to the original, and that's where the white works up to here. This shade doesn't match this shade, but it didn't match this shade either. So I almost feel like these legs were meant for I put the wrong head on here, didn't I? If you want the neutral head on the old figure with the white shirt and darker jacket, brown gloves. Oh, well, okay, brown gloves, gray boots. So it's not a perfect swap, but if you wanted this one to be your blasting one, this one to be your standing one, you can do that if you want to. That's odd, it's slightly loose on there. Although it should be the same body. It's not loose on there. We've had a few figures of Domino, but this changes things up. It brings it more squarely into the 90s, even though technically I don't think this was Domino. Wasn't this Copycat posing as Domino? Either way, with the rest of the X-Force members we've gotten, we needed, okay, take that back. I needed this, where the colors and the aesthetics match up better with the rest. And as far as I can tell, there's no parts shared between the last Domino we got and this one. This is more of a modern rendition, I guess. I like it. It's been standing with X-Force all this time, but we have a contender here. The shoulder pads, beautifully asymmetrical. They are looped around the shoulder. We've been seeing that a lot with newer figures, and there it rotates with the arm, so it won't get in the way. But you can also fine-tune it if you need it back a little bit or forward. That's running down the arm that I believe is new. It's got these little sculpted details like armor plates or something. Plus, it's pinless. The legs don't share that, and you can see the pegs, and you can see the white back there. Are you ready for this? There's that same color poking out on the inside. I feel like Hasbro's slowly going through and replacing stuff like this, but at the moment, due to budget reasons or whatever, they have to keep using old parts until they're replaced. Plain foot with a little bit of detail, plain legs. There is this wrap right here. It's not a pouch. What are those things? They just open up maybe? Secret compartments, fingerprint scanners. Same thing for the belts, although it went full 90s and had some pouches with some double clasps all the way around. Left arm's the same as the right. This is new because it's kind of a flap shirt top thing. And then there's 3 little buttons. I feel like we've seen this face somewhere too with the teeth showing through. Just painted Domino style, so I'm one of those guys, if you put glasses on, I can't recognize you. But then there's the headdress that it seems a little soft given the detail work put here and here and here. Not a lot to it. It just comes down, and then this looks like a plastic piece sticking out. I wish it was a little bit more microphony. But then again, we're talking about Liefeld and, you know, other 90s artists who would probably just go, just throw something up there, she's supposed to have a microphone, let's go. Then the nice short hair sculpt. It's soft material, but it's glued all the way down, so it's not going to get out of the way, but I don't think it needs to because of the length. Overall, just, you know, 90s Domino or Copycat or whoever. Oh yeah, besides the shirt flap, there's also a collar piece, and oh, nope, it's not soft. That's just part of the torso. Another reason that makes me think that that's new is because of the updated articulation. There's a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck with a ball down behind that collar, so altogether it does get up, shift forward, and all the way down. Can't beat that tilt. I thought for a second it may be butterfly, but I don't think it's in there. I think that's just the shoulder pad ring. But that rotates all the way around, hinges up past 90. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow is very tight, and it detents in the 2 positions, forward and then back. Swivel at the wrist and then up and down for a trigger finger hand on the right. The left is also a trigger finger hand, but it is hinged in and out. Dumbbell or ball at the mid-torso gives some hula hoop. Ball coming out to the hip comes forward, back, out. Oh, yeah, not great. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee. If you force it, maybe. Hinge at the ankle goes back, forward, front-facing pin for rocker. For accessories, it comes with 2 trigger finger hands, and those pop out, and she comes with 2 fists. But I will never use those because it's Domino. She has guns. And she does have guns. This bigger rifle, I think, is reused from something, but there's just some black across the bottom, silver on top. Some sculpted detail here and there, not bad. And that's probably the reason for her left hand to be hinged in and out, so she can hold the rifle comfortably. In fact, that's badass. But then she also comes with a very 90s X-Force type blaster. I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth again and say that I don't think this is reused from anything, but it may be. Who knows at this point? I just know it looks amazing in Domino's hand, and that's really all that matters to me. While those 2 are all fine and good, the big want from this set for me was Richter. He's a new character for the display, one we've never gotten before in 6-inch form, so yeah. This was the big get. I do have some gripes, but I think it all falls back on the design itself. The long hair, the shoulder pads, the things here and there. Surprisingly, it's a lot of reuse of Thunderbird from the Storm 2-pack. Same torso, same arms, same legs down to the knees. Same tassels around the shoulders, but Hasbro got a little creative with that and swapped the sides and then turned them around. Richter's left tassels are on Thunderbird's right, and then Richter's right is on Thunderbird's left, but the back is still to the back. If for some reason you have them standing next to each other, they don't look exactly the same. Just same design elements. At the knee, there's this knee pad that is a completely separate piece, glued on the front, wraps around the back. We've been seeing this a lot with the Star Wars Troopers lately. This does a lot to hide the articulation, but that does get in the way. I mean, obviously, it's inside the joint. You can get it to there, but it looks good, so it's kind of a trade-off. Below that is some baggy boots, really, really baggy boots, lots of wrinkles. That comes down to the foot with the boot-type heel, which, if they are boots, it goes all the way up. And then there's this metal ring on top with spikes. Here's your 90s pouches running all the way around with all the supplies he could ever have. Silver paint on the buckle. I wish we could have seen that on the little buckles for, well, a lot of the pouches. Wrist wrap above the glove is a separate piece, and then that, is that painted on? Yeah, it's painted to look like fingerless gloves. Speaking of paint, what the hell is this? Again, I know that's accurate. For some reason, that sticks out in my brain. At this point, it almost seems kind of Doctor Strange-ish. But I like how the blue is just kind of screened onto his tights, and that works all the way back up to the shoulders, along with the neon greens, the blacks, and the reds. This color scheme should not work, but because it's Richter and it was the 90s, it does. Then they take a green bandana and put it right next to some silver shoulder pads. This is an all-new separate piece that just sits here in between the head and the torso. When it comes to the head, the hair is what gets in the way. But we knew that going in. When there's long hair and thick like this, it's kind of just a piece of plastic hanging off the head. It does capture Richter's look though, so I can't complain too much unless I'm trying to get him to look up and then I'll complain. Then I have the same problem with this as I do that Thunderbird body. The arms are super long. His elbows are almost at his waist and then he's reaching mid-thigh. Like Thunderbird, I'll probably display him like in ready pose. The red X is painted nicely on the chest, and I'm bringing this up now because if you put him in action poses, that's going to make the X look weird. But at the same time, if he were wearing a real shirt and was crunching, it would fold and kind of hide away like that. So I guess it's not too bad unless you go back. Then it just stretches apart. Articulation, I haven't actually pulled this off. It's the old, well, I should have known because it's Thunderbird. Hinge with the ball on top. What's it look like without the shoulder pads? Not bad. With that gear on top, the hair, there's slight up, but not much. More down. I'm trying to tilt. Swivel, peg at the shoulder, rotates around. I guess you could do that if you wanted to go all the way around and snap it back into place. Hinge in the shoulder goes to there. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow comes most of the way up. Swivel at the wrist. Hinge in and out. Ab crunch goes forward, back. Swivel at the waist, hidden by the belt. Ball at the hip comes, up past 90. Back, out, kind of hindered. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee. Again, that gets in the way, goes up to there. Hinge at the ankle goes back. Forward. Oh, not bad. Front facing pin for rocker. For accessories, the hands do pop out. Watch out for the wrist wraps. You don't want to lose those. And with that, he comes with two flat palms that actually have the fingerless gloves sculpted on. These are the hands he uses whenever he's using his power, and that's represented by, tried and true. With these, I kind of just thread them on. There's a clip in there that goes in between the hand. That works. I especially like that they're color coordinated to that neon greenish color on his costume. Size-wise, Richter seems slightly large at 6 3/8, while Cannonball clocks in at about 6 1/4, and Domino is 6 1/8. His head is also large, especially when you bring in more X-Force members. But the more you add, the less that jumps out at you, especially when you bring the big guys in. So at the end of the day, a couple of good upgrades, and then a new character for the shelf, which is always a happy good time. I think back when I first reviewed Cannonball, I was okay with there not being legs. I wanted the representation of the power, so I was going to display it with the blast effect. I put it up on a stand. It's been there since, but now that I have the option for legs, I can see what people were upset about. It is nice to have Cannonball in a neutral position. And I'm also glad to have a Domino that I can put with X-Force and it doesn't look odd. The last Domino we got was more tactical and again modern feeling with just the blacks and the whites. Here, splash of colors, some unmistakable 90s details. Yeah, she's going in the display. Then there's Richter. Again, I feel like that's the main draw of this set. It's one more character closer to completing the team. Who are we down to now? Feral and Siren? Am I missing somebody? Either way, we're close. And Hasbro's just burning through them. It hasn't been the quickest team build, but we're getting there. After shooting most of the review and doing the poses and stuff, there are, especially on Domino, there's a couple of places that are gummy. Like, it's hard. Well, the detents are tough, and the plastic flexes more. But once you loosen those up, it's a little easier to do. Otherwise, I'm completely happy with this. If you enjoyed the overview, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus. If you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. Now the question is, who gets the legs? The old Cannonball or the new one? I like how the white matches up and down, but then the boots don't match. I'm not a stickler when it comes to these costumes. If it evokes my brain picture of these characters, then I'm good. Then again, like I said, I'm way more into Excalibur. We'll see how those hold up under my mind's eye.